if I just hone in on thinking of like my client list right now and the things that everybody is going through and working through, the undertone to it is, can I do this? Like, do I have what it takes to stand in the decision that I'm wanting to make?
Yeah.
Do I have what it takes to withstand this situation? Do I have what it takes to change this? Do I have what it takes to survive the fallout of this? It's just this river of questioning and fear and overthinking and all or nothing thinking and catastrophizing and this innate fear that we individually are not enough to do the things that we want to do.
When my heart stops, not a second sooner, I'm gonna finish what I've begun. 'Cause my heart's got a reason to believe in me in a dream and whatever may come. And as long as I'm breathing, I'll keep believing that I'm not done until my heart stops.
Imagine having a wellness center right in your living room. That's what LumiBox offers. This device combines light therapy, infrared heat, and sound therapy all in one sleek package. It's been a game changer for me when it comes to relaxation, recovery, and overall wellness, and I'm hearing that it has great effects for fertility. If you're looking to boost your self-care routine, check it out. Use my code QuietTheClockPod to get $260 off per unit. That's QuietTheClockPod at checkout. Your wellness, your way. Hey guys, welcome back to Quiet the Clock. I'm so excited to welcome our next guest, Sam Dalton, Sam the therapist on Instagram. Well, welcome to Quiet the Clock, but also welcome to New York because you just moved.
I did. It has been 3 weeks.
3 weeks. That's it. I feel like you've been here forever. I don't. How's the transition been? Like,
it's been incredible. I grew up here. Well, not here specifically, but a little further north. So it wasn't, the transition itself wasn't that huge because it was still very familiar. I grew up coming to the city and all that. But being back here, it actually feels quite lovely. Feels like being back home.
I want to. It's always interesting to think about like our own personal experiences and how it impacts our work. And I'm sure you work with, and I do as well, like a lot of women going through life transitions or moves or big decisions. So I'm sure like you have this relatability to all of that.
Oh, yeah. And I think one of the most powerful things for me, not only in my work with my clients, but in my own personal life, is to recognize there is absolutely no roadmap to transition, which to my anxious high achievers, speaking one-to-one, that is
speaking to me. Yeah,
that's horrifying.
Yes.
But there's also a lot of freedom in that because you realize the specific transition you are going through is unique to your life, your circumstances, unique to where you're going or where you're trying to get to. And so there doesn't have to be a roadmap. It gets to be your roadmap.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's so much that we talk about on here, like kind of quieting the clock and quieting the societal expectations and our own expectations based on what we're told we should do, and really honoring a roadmap that is your own, and that can be really difficult. So I do want to dive into all the work that you do because it feels really aligned with what we talk about on here and the work that I do. But I just want to back up and ask like how you chose this work, how you chose to be a therapist.
Oh boy, trauma.
All of us.
I think all of us, we are all here for the same reasons. I have a younger brother who is severely disabled, mentally disabled, and my family are his full-time caregivers. My parents more so. He lives with my parents. But growing up when I lived at home, I contributed to that dynamic. And it was incredibly challenging. I think it's a part of my identity that I'll be unpacking for the rest of my life. However, it taught me so much about empathy and compassion and the impacts of the things that you go through in life. And so as I went to school, I realized like, wow, I'm really good at helping people. And so I followed kind of that helping profession trajectory and found that I was in fact, quite good at it. And went through like a period of time where I really resented that and resented the choice.
I saw your post on that. Can you speak to that a little bit more?
Yeah, I was bitter that I had put myself in a position where my income was tied to me having to be of service to other people.
Yeah, because it can be difficult, and we're human, and we have hard things that go on in our life, and to show up sometimes in those moments and hold space for other people can be hard.
Yeah. And to realize like there was no break from it ever, really. Yeah. And I had to grieve that. And there was a lot of guilt, and I would say more often than not shame around feeling that way and being like, no, like I get to do this incredible thing. I get to be a part of people's stories and people's experience. But then there was this part of me that was like, but I don't think I would have done that if I had given myself a little more time to make the choice, because I went to grad school in my right smack dab in the middle of my mid-20s.
Okay.
And I think my frontal lobe finished developing like the day I graduated.
Isn't that so wild though, that at such young ages we're required to make these decisions about our futures, like declare a major in college, like start a career path before our frontal lobe is fully developed. It's wild.
Right. Yeah. And so exactly, my frontal lobe finished developing and I was like, oh God, what have I done? But then I went through a period of time where I obviously did my own personal work and making sense of things, and realized it wasn't necessarily the profession, it was what I was doing within the profession that was hard. I was in a trauma 1 emergency room, which I know I've talked about like quite a bit on my own channels and things. But yeah, that was like basically for 5.5 years on any given day, I could be watching someone die.
Yeah. I mean,
because my job was to support families through that, the families of the patient. So while like the trauma team was managing the patient's care, my job was to be managing the families through that.
Wow.
And that was the thing that I was like, I don't want to be good at this.
I know.
Like it's so heavy and it's hard, and to be witnessing people go through these life-altering moments all the time, it weighs on you, and you
probably one of, or if not the worst moment in your life. Yeah.
Bar none. And that was a huge eye-opening moment for me, not only professionally. And I learned, I don't think any other job could have replicated the learning opportunity that I had there professionally.
Yeah.
And everything that I was exposed to, and the types of conversations that I learned how to navigate, and the interprofessional relationships, between nurses and doctors and specialty teams and police and, people on my own team and, the crisis team, which was a different group of social workers. And so it was so much, and it was such like fertile ground for learning.
Yeah.
But I also had to learn so much about myself through that process and realize like, I don't think I actually know how to take care of myself.
It's so interesting. I think there's so many layers and nuance to why and how we get into this work. And I think some of that, and I'll speak for myself personally, I think some of that is because it's easier to take care of other people than to take care of myself. And it's the attention is on, and that comes from, my own family dynamics and things like that. But it sometimes it does, even though it can be very hard and very challenging, sometimes it does feel easier to just be in that position of the helper instead of the one asking for the help. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And about halfway through is when I realized I have to start thinking of me and putting me first in my life. And that journey happened about the end of 2022, kind of when there were a couple things that happened back to back. And that realization like firmly set in. And I was living in Salt Lake City, Utah at the time. And after that, it took it's been like a 2-year period of like nonstop transition. I built up my full-time caseload. I left the hospital. My dad got cancer in there. And I had to go home and help care for my brother and care for him and my mom and all that. Then moved to Florida for a year to catch my breath. And then now, as of 3 weeks ago, I'm here.
But it is like, we're laughing, but that is so much, especially in a short period of time, while also trying to do the work and show up for other people. And I think we do deserve to give ourselves so much credit. We do deserve to like take those breaks and focus on the self-care because, you know, in my opinion, I don't think we can be the best therapists we can be without it. And we all have lives and things going on.
Exactly. Well, and something that was quite fascinating for me to realize, I think, especially as I look back from, let's say, November 2022 to November right now, I think if I look at kind of everything I've gone through categorically, I'm like, oh my God, it's like, and you don't pause to look at it when it's your life. And I think even sometimes I've been like, how have I been able to like show up professionally? Because I have the whole time. But actually, it made doing the job easier when I knew I was actually dealing with things in my life behind the scenes. I didn't feel like I was stuck in place anymore.
Yeah. This was my experience. I'm curious for you too, like in sort of more of those particularly challenging phases or seasons, I would have sessions and, you know, all the stuff that I've been going through, and they would be so helpful to me.
Yes.
There would be something my client said that was inspiring or helpful or something that came up in that session that like, and it was helpful to me.
1,000%. Like every single one of my clients, and you know who you are if you're watching, they each individually, based on their own circumstances, 100% inspired me in different ways.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think I also learned the power of, and this is the key word, appropriate self-disclosure.
Appropriate.
Yes. That is the key word.
Yes.
And my rule with that is things that I've processed and made sense of and feel in a good headspace with. But I think that is the power of therapy.
Absolutely.
And the therapeutic relationship is that when it is appropriate and boundaried.
Yes.
That's the key.
Some people don't do it that way.
Yeah,
that's why we're being very clear about the way to do it. Yes.
Correct. But it was for them to hear that someone who quote unquote has all the tools and all the understanding and the training has gone through the gauntlet as well.
Yeah. And I think it, again, used appropriately, so powerful for the relationship. I have this sense now, I'm curious your thought. This is not a question I had planned, but I think there's an expectation of therapy. The expectation of therapists has shifted due to social media. I do think
100%.
People want to know more about us and want to know more about our experiences. I think there's just a different expectation where for me, when in training and early career, it was blank slate. Don't share anything. Like I never would be on here. I had a podcast previously with my sister and I was so resistant to share anything. I was like, my clients are listening. But I do feel like the landscape has changed and the expectation of therapists are to be more open. I think that's what clients are looking for.
1,000%. And I built my caseload off of social media. Social media exposure.
That's where everyone's going to find their therapist.
That's they vet you on your homepage before they reach out. And I've found that in my intake sessions, I always bring it up. I always bring up social media and I lead with, I'm about to have to ask the most pretentious question ever, but do you follow me on social media? And 9 times out of 10, it's yes. Or they found me through Amanda White's Instagram, who she runs the Therapy for Women practice that I'm a part of. And, you know, we talk about it. And I say, look, I have no problem if you choose to follow me. That doesn't bug me because I understand what I'm sharing and why I'm sharing it. And I say, but also I share about my human life because I'm a human and I'm a person and I live and I do things outside of this session. And I say some people don't want to know that and that's totally fine. And some people, it really helps them to know that I'm a person who's living. And sometimes like I have my own podcast, Nuance Needed, and my clients will listen to it and they'll bring up topics that Amanda and I spoke about on the podcast. And we'll take like 5 minutes at the start of session to like get all of that out of the way sometimes. And then we move on. And I think what I've realized is that has been so much more helpful in building rapport.
Totally.
And building a sense of safety and trust in that they know that I will always be real and honest with them.
Again, I think that's the expectation of therapists now.
Mhm.
Yes.
That
and the desire.
Absolutely. And that I will own my side of the street, and that I don't pretend to be perfect. I don't pretend to have it all figured out, but I'm really good at helping people figure it out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's been game changing for me to realize like, wow, grad school is really just like a means to an end.
It really is. And when I have therapists, and I love when they reach out and they're in grad school or they're like about to finish grad school, I'm like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
I was like, yeah, you have to check the boxes. And I wish I could like go in and rewrite a grad program because it's like, we are so unprepared for what the work actually is. I did all my training at an outpatient clinic with, I love the work, like, and similar to your experience, like best education possible.
Yep.
Very difficult, very mentally unwell, but incredibly, incredibly amazing people. But there were things that would happen there. And I'd be like, well, where was the course on this psychotic break? Or, it's just getting out in the real world and doing the work and being with people is the real education. And so for anyone listening that's in grad school, don't stress too hard.
Yeah, don't.
Check the boxes, pass the courses, you'll be fine.
You need to get yelled at a few times by people.
Yeah.
I truly think in grad school, you're very sheltered, understandably.
So.
You have so many bumpers. You have everybody to like swoop in and, save you, which is helpful at times. But I also found I learned the most in those high octane moments where I was having to be like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And kind of like making it up as you go.
Yeah.
And realizing that the skills are just a foundation that you have to put like your spice and your flavor on as a clinician.
1,000%.
And you have to figure out, like, you can't just say, oh, I'm a CBT therapist or I'm a DBT. Or is it like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
They don't know what that means.
No.
How do you ask open-ended questions?
Yeah.
How do you make people feel comfortable? How do you communicate boundaries and hold boundaries?
I see that a lot with clinicians like right out of school. I have incredible clinicians in my group practice. A couple have come right out of school, and there's, the real learning is that they're so like, they want to use the skill and they want to use the intervention. I'm like, that doesn't matter as much. Like, let's learn how to build, one, your confidence in the room, and two, your ability to strengthen the therapeutic relationship. But they're just like, because you go right from school into that setting and you're kind of like, well, I need to use this skill and I use this intervention and this modality. I'm like, let's just kind of learn who this person is first.
Yeah. And I think learning to be a conversationalist is key.
Yeah.
How are you hearing what they're saying? And I think the question piece, like learning how to ask questions that invite further exploration.
Yes. So well said. Yeah.
I think that is the key that's missing. It's not so much that you give them the perfect skill or you come out with that perfect aha moment where everything makes sense. It's not that. I would really say like 85% of our work is helping them figure out how to make sense of their story.
1,000%.
How to make sense of what they've been through, how it's changed who they are, how they're frustrated by that, how they're proud of that, and then figure out how to articulate that moving forward. I think there's so much more power in teaching someone to do that.
Yeah.
Rather than saying like, well, do you know how to like breathe through feeling anxious?
Right. Should we start a grad program? We're like, done. Before we're like, let's burn it all down, but let's start a grad program.
This is it. We just need to start a university. Super straightforward.
I want to shift to some of the work that you're doing now, and some of the things that you share on social media are so aligned with the conversations and topics we talk about on here, the work I've done with my clients, kind of why I started this podcast. Some of the things are like hustle mentality, keeping you stuck, helping ambitious women who feel overwhelmed and burned out find clarity, getting out of our own heads, building self-trust, creating a life that actually feels good, and people-pleasing. Yeah. Many of the things. What are kind of the big ones you see a lot, especially with people that might hold these narratives of running out of time, or behind. I see so much in that. I mean, it's literally why I started this podcast, because it's what I lived personally and it's what I was seeing professionally in my work, that so many people were following. We were talking earlier, the roadmap, this one outdated roadmap that everyone is supposed to follow, and it's all supposed to look the same, and we're supposed to go to college and get the career and get the partner and get the baby, and it just doesn't go that way for so many people, nor should it.
No.
So I'm curious, kind of the biggest common themes you see in your work.
I think the magnitude of the self-doubt is what surprises me, and surprises the wrong word. I think with every client, like if I just hone in on thinking of like my client list right now and the things that everybody is going through and working through, the undertone to it is, can I do this? Like, do I have what it takes to stand in the decision that I'm wanting to make?
Yeah.
Do I have what it takes to withstand this situation? Do I have what it takes to change this? Do I have what it takes to survive the fallout of this? It's just this river of questioning and fear and overthinking and all or nothing thinking and catastrophizing and this innate fear that we individually are not enough to do the things that we want to do.
Do you see that kind of show up as stuckness? Like people get, I see so much stuckness with my clients, and I feel like everything you're saying kind of can present in that way. Like I can't make a decision. I can't get out of the job I hate. I can't get out of the relationship I hate. And maybe what you're saying is like, there is not that self-trust or self-belief that you can do that. Or what I see too is like the fear of the unknown. I don't know what's on the other side. So if I leave this relationship, is there somebody more aligned and better suited for me?
Right. The thing that I've learned about the unknown, because that is something I was like really mulling that over for a minute, because I realized that was the line I was seeing so much, like fear of the unknown. I'm afraid of the unknown. I would even see other therapists saying like, are you afraid of the unknown? And I was like, what the hell is the unknown? And what I realized was I was like, oh, it's not this like amorphous blob. The amorphous blob is what actually keeps us safe from the reality, which is I don't trust myself to deal with a situation I've never been in before.
Yeah.
That's like, if you think about what the unknown is,
right?
What we're saying is I, at some point, am going to find myself in a situation that I haven't been before. Am I enough now to be able to navigate a situation I've never been in before?
And how do you, I have my own thoughts on this too, but how I want to know from you how you work with someone that's feeling that's in that self-doubt, that is fearful of an unknown situation they have not been in before and not sure how they will be able to navigate it.
I find, and also like I'm speaking from this because I lived it.
Right. We all, I live it. Yeah.
I would consider myself to have been stuck for like 12 years.
Really?
Like from 19 to 32, 31, 32, I felt like I was spinning in place. There were so many pieces of my life that I was like round peg, square hole. Like I'm eventually going to wear this thing down and it's going to fit and it's going to work. And I made progress in some areas of my life, but I felt stuck. And what I realized was I didn't like where I lived. I didn't like the type of work I was doing. I wasn't feeling fulfilled in really any area of my life fully. And I couldn't figure out why, because nothing was innately bad. But I also underwent deconstructing from the Mormon religion through this whole thing.
Yes.
So that is like a caveat layer to this of spending a lot of years trying to be like, no, like I should want to be in Utah. Like this is where everybody is.
Yeah. The word should. I ban it from my therapy room. It was so funny the other day. I said it in session with one of my clients and he's like, hold on. He's like, we're not allowed to use that. I was like, oh, okay. Thanks for coming. But yeah, that word should is so heavy.
So heavy.
It's so ingrained in what we should do. And I think I appreciate you sharing your own experience with that. But I do think that is something that keeps people so stuck because
Mm-hmm.
I should do this. It should look like this.
Yep.
I should. And it torments.
You just spin out because at the end of the day, most of the time you don't want to be doing the should thing.
No, never.
But you feel trapped in it.
Right.
And so to go back to your question of you saying like, how do you work with someone? What I realize is we have to immediately start a process of figuring out how to rebuild a sense of trust with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that starts with taking the most minute actions every day where we just make a decision and we stick with it. And I'll even tell people like in the morning, if you go to Starbucks and you're picking a drink, don't even like think of it. Like, don't look at the menu and go like, well, do I want that or should I get that? No, pick one and then you go to the counter and you order it and that's it.
Yeah.
You don't change your mind
Yeah.
and you move on.
Yeah.
Or you do something new. You pick something new that you haven't done before and you sit with like the discomfort of like, what if I don't like it? What if it's not good? What if it's a waste of money? Who cares? It happened. It's done.
Mm-hmm.
And practicing like building exposure
Yes.
to the chance that it might not be what you thought it would be, but also to expose yourself to the fact that it might be better than you thought. Right?
Exactly.
And you cannot know that until you start doing things.
Mm-hmm.
And not like taking action in a way that we're trying to outrun something. Because I think action can start to feel avoidant
Yeah.
sometimes.
Ooh, say more about that.
Because I think for the people that are just constantly doing,
Mhm.
doing. I'm going. I have all these plans. I'm doing this. It's just like, why?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the reason I add the why is because more often than not, those are the people that are like, I'm tired. I'm burnt out. Right. Like they have the long list of like, oh God, I'm so stressed. I'm so overwhelmed. But they don't stop.
Yeah.
And they're like, but I have to be doing. And it's like, well, why? What happens if you stop and have a thought?
Scary.
It's scary.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I had a client. I can think of one particular client where I literally some of our work. And I think this is interesting to share because I think that in so many ways we're creative in how we work and it might not look how people think.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
part of our work was really pulling out her schedule and saying, take that off, take
Yep.
that off,
Oh.
take that off, take that off. Why are we doing that? Like because she was running and avoidant and just over scheduling herself. And we really had literally was like, all right, pull out the calendar, take that off, take that off, take that off. Yeah. I see that a lot as well.
And think of how and I don't mean to be like syrupy therapist vibes here, but think of how bold and brave that is to finally like look at your life through a crystal clear lens
Yeah.
and say, this is where I've been hurting my own feelings.
Yeah.
I've been spending so much time pointing out why everybody else is hurting my feelings,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
pointing all to the external, which I have no control over. So I feel more powerless. Feel like I can't do anything because it's always somebody else's fault. But then it's like, no, babes.
You're the one putting it on your calendar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're the one doing that, whatever that is. And, I had to do that with myself. Absolutely. When I had to realize to go to the words we were using before we recorded, I'm going to have to burn it all down. I'm going to have to burn it down and I'm going to have to start over. And I had been fighting the need to do that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't trust that I was going to be able to build something on the other side.
Yeah. I think that's a big one. And fear is a big one. How much do I think, the self-trust is huge. How much do you see like external perception being something that keeps people stuck? Like if I do this thing, someone will judge, or if I do this thing, mom will be mad. I think that's another layer of probably ties in the self-trust too, but also the stuckness of like, I can't go off the path. No one else went off the path.
Right. It's paralyzing.
Yeah.
It's paralyzing, the fear of letting somebody down, doing something different than what you told people you were going to do, building a life that is unique to what maybe other people in your circle have done, doing something that maybe other people won't understand. I mean, that takes so much bravery.
I was going to say doing something that other people are not brave enough to do. Yeah.
Which is the biggest trigger to everyone else.
Yeah.
And also when I have clients that we stumble on kind of that's a fear of like, what will other people think?
Mm-hmm.
I always introduce the crabs in the bucket metaphor.
Oh, no, I don't know.
Have you heard that one? Okay.
Tell me.
So this is, and
Oh, the crab wanting to pull one down. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if there's any like fishermen out there and you're listening to this and you're like, that's not true. I'm just, this is what I've heard many times and I Googled it and I was told it was correct. So anyway, when someone is like crab fishing, they literally can just throw them in a bucket with no lid or a bin with no lid. Because the second another crab tries to crawl out, the other crabs work together to pull them back down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so you literally, like, you don't have to put them in a container with anything. Like they'll do the work for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I bring that up to my clients because I'm like, a lot of times family dynamics that we're in operate that way. Friend groups that we're in operate that way. Professional situations we're in operate that way.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be willing to like push past that pull down from people.
Or you'll never get out.
Yeah. Because the crabs could, in theory, like pull themselves out if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But when they feel the tugging at the bottom, they're like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so more often than not, we do that. And we keep like staring up at the sky and it's like, why is it so hard to get to the sky?
I love that. I love imagery, using imagery in therapy. It's just it's so powerful and really like kind of like highlights the point.
Same.
A lot. A lot of the women that we've had on here, I've worked with, and similar to, it seems like your work, are highly ambitious, type A. I want to talk about perfectionism. They also seem to be the women that really are this audience of like, haven't met the partner yet, unsure about when or if they want motherhood, considering egg freezing. Just, if you kind of look at them as a whole, highly successful, good social life, all of the things, but still not totally like have everything that they want. And maybe we can dive into that a little bit, and particularly like perfectionism. How do you see perfectionism show up? How do you see it get in the way for a lot of women, maybe potentially like building a life that's truly fulfilling to them?
God, how much time do you...
30 minutes.
Okay, we have to be really clear because I think it is almost misunderstood because I think people assume perfectionism has perfect outcomes. And so they're behaving in a perfectionist mindset, but they're like, well, I'm not a perfectionist because nothing's perfect. And it's like, no, babe. It's the process in the middle of the overthinking everything, trying to be predictive of any and all possible outcomes based on, the decision that you may or may not make, trying to chess match other people, the way other people will feel or think about something or perceive something, trying to make decisions that feel safe. Right? Like emotionally safe, even if it might not be the decision we want to make. Yeah. It seems safe and manageable. So that's the one we're going to go with. And so it's interwoven into everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think because so many women are so ambitious and driven and they're achieving, right? They get confused because they're like, well, isn't it paying off? Isn't this like overthinking paying off for me? And I'm like, well, yeah, you haven't slept in 5 years though, because you can't stop thinking.
Yeah.
And you're thinking about everything. And the second you do, let's say, to use kind of the classic example, let's say you get the promotion that you've been wanting. You make partner, you're a fellow, you're chief resident, you are managing, you get the C-suite title, right? Like let's say you fall somewhere in kind of these like traditional, oh my God, I made it moments. You get there and you look around and you're like, what have I done? Now I'm even more stressed. I'm even more overwhelmed. I don't know how to do this. People are going to find me out.
Imposter syndrome.
They're going to figure out I'm a fraud. I don't even know how I ended up here. Did I end up here because I wanted to be here? Or was it because everybody else told me this is what I should want once I chose this career path, right? And all of that stems from the self-doubt.
Yeah.
The self-doubt of being able to ask ourselves hard questions of, do I want this because it's what I want?
I think, I have so much to say on everything you just said. One, I love how you broke down perfectionism, because I think we do not think about it in the right way. I think we have this idea of what it looks like, but all the ways that you just shared is certainly perfectionism. And I think that's so helpful for people listening to maybe tune into that and say, oh, wait, I do those things. Maybe I do suffer with perfectionism. So I really appreciate that. I've seen so many clients, myself included, arrive at these things that we thought would make us happy or that we should do, and they don't. And that's so jarring.
Yeah.
And, I am hopeful, the intention of this podcast too is to start these conversations and this curiosity earlier of what we actually want based on what we want. Because I do feel like we have all these other drivers that are pushing us towards life paths or decisions that once we get there, we realize are not really our own. And then you might be 32, 33, 34. And then you're like, now what? Now I'm behind. I can't start over. Like, I thought this was the dream job or the dream thing, and it's not. And I think that's such a shame that that's kind of what's perpetuated.
Right. Well, and let's call it out too. The reality is men at that age are seen as just getting started in their careers. Right. They're seen as the young ones, and we need to mentor them and we need to help them in making decisions, right? Kind of like the old boys club, if you will. And with women, it's like, I didn't figure it out by 24. There's no hope.
Right.
And this insane pressure that we have on ourselves all the time, that this decision has to be the one that makes it all make sense.
Yeah.
This decision has to be the place that I arrive to and I finally know, right? I finally get it. And it's no, you get to make decisions. You get to change. You get to pivot. You get to adapt. You can decide that promotion wasn't what you wanted and step down.
I feel like people really struggle
100%.
with giving themselves permission to do that for so many reasons, right? Self-doubt, self-trust, shoulds. And I really hope, we're putting better narratives out there that give people that confidence and that permission to change and to shift. And I did a little reel the other day about my son's old preschool director. She's in her 70s.
Oh, wow.
And I saw she retired. Well, I thought she'd retired, but that was untrue. So I saw her on the playground one day and she was covering for somebody. She's like, yeah, I'm going back to school. I'm like, that is the most inspiring thing I ever heard. But it just goes to show wow. It's not too late to change and to pivot.
No, never. It's never
to leave something.
Yes. To walk away.
Yes.
To do something different.
Yeah.
To start doing the thing that you've always wanted to be doing. Right. There is no limit.
Yeah. None. And I hope that people are kind of taking that in a bit more, and younger women are listening and kind of getting ahead of it, because I have seen so many women arrive at these milestones and be like, I thought this was supposed to make me happy. I'm not happy.
Right. And I think I've seen in people that I work with, my friends, and even myself, to put your hand up and say, I'm not happy. I think so often that's perceived as a moment of failure.
Yes.
And I think for those of us that do wrestle with the concept of achievement and this desire for perfectionism and the need to be perceived as having it together, for us to stick our hand up, whether it's at work, it's in our marriage, it's in our long-term relationship, it's in parenthood, it's in our friendships, right? It doesn't matter where it is, to put your hand up and say, I'm really unhappy right now. We again slip into, well, yeah, because that's my fault.
Yeah, or like you said, I failed.
Yeah, I failed because I've done it all wrong. And if I had done it differently, I wouldn't be here. Whereas to raise your hand and say, this isn't working for me, is the most insanely powerful moment.
It's the most successful thing you could do.
Yes.
In my opinion.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Because that is a moment that you can now work from. You can work from truth.
Yeah. And I think, again, to be keep circling back to the self-trust.
Yeah.
I think it's important to be so grounded in that, because when you put your hand up, and what I've seen either to your personally or professionally, when you put your hand up, there's so many people around you that's uncomfortable with that.
Oh,
I watched my sister very bravely go through a divorce and walk out of a marriage with 2 children that was not healthy and lose friends around her because her married friends were like, you're contagious. Like, but it's like their reflection. And I've seen that so much. So, it is so brave to put your hand up. And then if you're grounded in that self-trust and your choice, hopefully you're not as affected by the people that can't manage that choice for their own stuff. So I think it is so brave. And I think part of, a lot of what we talk about too is like just rewriting these very concrete constructs or definitions around what success is. We have an achievement is. I think it's still so outdated. I think we're moving in the right direction, but I'm curious your thoughts on like how we start rewriting the script on what is successful and what we consider achievement outside of college degree, type of job, type of partnership, parenthood. Those seem to still be like the major buckets that we're looking at.
Yeah. The driving factors, I think, in so many areas of life. Well, I think part of it starts with a revision of what do I even value?
Yes.
Like what is meaningful to me? What are things that I actually enjoy, but haven't allowed myself to lean into because of these narratives or these expectations that were placed on me by other people more often than not. And like, I'll give you an example. Like when I was a kid, oh my God, I was the biggest nerd. I was such a nerd. At 12, a little older than that. I would say probably like 14, 15 was when like The Hills was really big and The OC and like all those TV shows. All of my friends would watch those. And I was watching the History Channel.
I love that.
I was like so shameful about it. I was like, I'm so weird. Like, why do I not care about these shows? But like, I find this interesting. And what I realized is like, no, because I don't care about those things. That wasn't interesting to me. And that's okay. Like, I'm no less of like a girl or a woman or anything like that because I didn't care about any of them.
Neither did I. It's so interesting as a therapist. I feel like any topic we can quickly go to a client or, So I had a client that really held this narrative that he loved these hobbies, love these hobbies. He's like, but they're not cool.
Yeah.
And I'm like, 30 something year old man, I'm like, they're cool to you. Who's deciding what's cool? Like who has decided what is cool? Yeah. But again, it's these really, they feel almost too concrete. Like this is cool. This is not. This is successful. This is not.
Yeah. This is acceptable. This isn't.
Yes.
And like the reason I brought up that, like I watched the History Channel as a child is because I think that is how far back it goes. In laying the foundations of how we are concerned about being perceived or what other people will think or how other people will respond to us when we let them know, hey, this is something I like. This is something I value. This is something I care about. This is something that brings me joy. I also think it should have been like a major, this kid is bound for a helping profession when I like enjoyed reading about the Holocaust at like 13. I was like, I want to understand this. Why, like, how can people like do this to each other? Like, I felt like I would, looking back on why I would like reading about it. It didn't make sense to me that people could be like that cruel to each other. I mean, and cruel isn't even like the word doesn't even begin to cover it. But,
no, not at all. Yeah.
But like, I think now that's something, that interest and that hobby of mine of being kind of like a history nerd and being into those things, like that's something that I'm really proud of because I've done the work to recognize like, no, that's like a really important part of me and my interests. And I like reading about it and watching shows about it. And in my off time, that's an element among my other hobbies of things that I like to do.
Yeah.
And it takes work to start to analyze like, oh, what were the things I wanted to do as a kid, but we didn't have resources to do it? Or I got made fun of when I spoke up about liking that thing or being interested in that thing, right? Like, were my parents kind of resistant and hesitant to it, whatever it is? There's this I think like the larger theme too of what we're talking about, even about like doubt or questioning or perfectionism, is to have the strength to really look inward and finally hold up that mirror and kind of see where all the cobwebs are.
Yeah.
And the leaks and where we need to do a little bit of renovation work and be willing to start that. Because until you have like a more clear foundation of the type of person you are, the type of person you would like to be, what does matter to you, what is important to you, decisions will always feel confusing.
1,000%.
Because you're not making it from anything that feels grounded to you.
Yeah. I do a lot of values work. It's interesting you bring that up. I think it's so important, but it's really interesting. The responses I get sometimes is like, I had to go home and Google that. Like I had to find a list. I didn't even know. And so, you know, there is a lot of work to be done. And to your point of like, we have to look back.
Yep.
It does these ideas and these blueprints, they get very ingrained from a very young age. And it does take time and work to kind of understand where they come from, understand inner critic, understand whose voice is driving decisions, whose voice has influenced trust or self-doubt. And it does take a lot of, but it's life-changing to your point. If you can get that clarity, you can make decisions quicker, more easily, more confidently, and more aligned. Yeah.
Aligned is the big word there.
Aligned. I feel like people are still, that's why I'm so grateful for the work that we do, even though it can be difficult at times, I feel like so many of us lack that clarity. And I think the thing to say too is, and I'm curious if you see this as well, it can be really jarring when you do finally find it.
Yeah.
It can be difficult when you really do get clear because it probably deconstructs a lot of things that you, beliefs you held, things you knew to be true, things that you thought you wanted. Do you see that a lot when you help your clients kind of come to more clarity?
Oh, yeah. That I call it like unit 2. Like unit 1 is like, let's just get used to saying like, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Right. Like you have to even start that far back or even like, you know, pre-contemplation, right? Like there's some times where the beliefs and the stories that we have are so rooted, they are factual in our mind. And it takes a lot of energy to like lean into that. And so once we get into the place of like the realization of like, okay, I now have to do everything differently, right? I always go back to like, what is like the smallest way we can start this? Because I think the other thing that happens is we set ourselves up for failure because we try to do all of the change at the same time.
Yes.
It's kind of like the 2 a.m. like life reset that everybody like jokes about. Like I'm going to be up at, 4 a.m, like writing down like how I'm going to fix everything in my life. And it's like, there's a lot of truth to the classic saying of like, Rome wasn't built in a day. You were not built in a day. I was not built in a day. My work was 32 years of living one way and then spending the last 3 trying to hobble around, figuring out how to live another. And to be okay with the discomfort of that and how it's not going to feel familiar for quite some time.
Yeah.
And that if anything, that level of discomfort is the indication that you are doing it correctly.
Yeah.
And I think that trips a lot of people up because I think the assumption is like, well, when I realize this, I should have the confidence. Yeah.
No, now we move on to unit 2.
That's unit 5.
Unit 5. Not even unit 2. It's not even.
No, we're not even there yet. Yeah. But I really try so hard to normalize the challenge of the process.
Yeah.
Because I think that trips so many people up when they realize the level of effort and consistency and commitment it's going to take.
Yeah. And I think that, we were talking earlier about sort of social media and the impact of that on us as therapists and our work. I think it is important to normalize the complexity and the time and the challenge of it, because I think you have people on there being like, do these 5 things and you'll be, it's going to change everything. Right. And it's not a quick fix.
No. And I think even like going back to when I first started posting like really consistently, probably like end of 2022, I did that.
Yeah.
The algorithm.
Yeah. The five things.
Remember
Yes.
the pointing thing? We all had to do that. And I try really hard with my content to not do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard because like you don't get as much traction. You really don't.
Yeah.
You really don't.
Yeah.
And so you have to kind of sacrifice. Like for me, that was a realization I had to make, like with my values of like, okay, like I'm going to sacrifice growth over here in order for me to feel good about what I'm doing over here.
But I think to your point, like once you're really clear on your values, that decision is pretty easy. And, I always say too, when we're really clear on our values, I always say that you can, if you're not feeling good, you're probably far away from your values. And so there's an opportunity to bring awareness to like, okay, I don't feel great. I feel off. I feel more anxious. I feel more depressed. It's like, okay, are we connected to our values? And most times when you're feeling that way, no, you're not. So it is such huge, important work.
Yeah.
And I also want to normalize that it is a lot of work and intentional work to stay grounded in those because there is so much distraction, right? There's these flashy things over here of like, if I did this type of post, I'm going to get this amount of followers.
Right.
If I do this. And so there's so much temptation to move us away from values and really being intentional about, again, staying grounded in those values and not being distracted by shiny, flashy things. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I even had a client who we had to come to the realization she actually didn't even want to be posting.
Right.
Like she wanted to be doing something completely different.
Yeah. I think, again, it's kind of brave to come to those conclusions and realizing, wait, I don't actually want to do this. And our bodies will tell us so much too. Like I think, and I do want to, and I think this pertains to what we're talking about, like talk a little bit about like burnout and hustle culture, because I do think sometimes we're so caught up in that and we're moving so quickly that we're not in tune to what's happening in my body. How am I actually feeling? How is this experience, person, place, whatever making me feel? And one things that you put on your Instagram is that the hustle culture is like keeping us stuck. So I'd love to, and I think hustle culture and burnout go hand in hand. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit more how you work with that or how you see that show up in your work or how you see that keep people stuck.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think there's this belief that if I run fast enough, those things won't catch me. And I frame it more often than not as when we're in kind of the throes of over-functioning, which I think is kind of an umbrella term that can kind of catch a lot of this.
Yes. Yeah.
We're running at like 10 speed on the treadmill. And we're like, there's a grizzly bear right behind me. And the second I slow down, that bear's going to get me. So if I just stay at this speed, even though I'm having a hard time breathing, even though my chest feels like it's going to explode, even though my legs are going to give out, I know if I keep it this speed, I'll be fine. But the crazy thing is, if we just bothered to like turn around, we're not being chased by a grizzly bear. We're being chased by like a very frightened Yorkie. Right? That just is like begging to be like picked up, nurtured, held, acknowledged, seen. It just wants some cuddles and it's going to be fine. And then in the meantime, while we're tending to that, we can actually be regulated where we can breathe normally. We can pace ourselves. We don't have to feel like our muscles are going to give out. And so I use that visualization because that was something that was helpful for me to realize what I was doing. I was doing too much, too hard, trying to please too many different people that weren't myself. And to pause and realize like, I was the frightened Yorkie.
Yeah, right,
like,
right.
That's you. Yeah. Like you are the scared little puppy. And that recognition of I am allowed to pause. Rest is something that is productive. And I always remind people that scrolling is not rest.
No. Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's a tough truth I had to learn. But, there's nothing like a good TikTok scroll, but we need to put a limit on that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think you should be attentive to how you feel when you're on the app and get off the app, right? Like if you're getting off the app and you're like, and I do that myself. I'll get on that app and I'll be like, I don't feel good about myself right now.
No.
Like, why did I even open that thing? So like,
why did I do that?
Yeah.
Or realizing like 25 minutes of your life is gone.
Right.
And that's terrifying. So, rest is productive. Saying an intentional no is good. I don't think just blanket no is always good, because I think sometimes I think the thing that we keep saying no to is actually something we need to say yes to.
Yes.
Like I push my clients in the social realm with that a lot. To be like, no, like, let's try to make that dinner. Let's try to make that lunch work. Let's like have those people over. I think using our energy in a different way that isn't related to work actually makes us feel more energized.
Yes.
And I think that confuses people to their core, because they're like, well, no, like, I'm tired, thus socializing is going to make me more tired. And I'm like, actually, you're tapping into like a different energy reserve with that.
Yeah.
Like if you're with people that you love and you care about and they care about you, and these are people that you feel relaxed with, you have a good time with, like you can have deeper conversations with, you can have a lighter conversation if you need, like that is healing. Like
so healing.
That is restful.
Yeah.
Not just feeling that you constantly have to be on and working in this different masked version of yourself. That isn't, and I think social media sometimes, if we're just going to use the scrolling example, sometimes that is that. Yeah. Like we're more masked.
Totally.
So.
Totally. Yeah. You had me thinking, I have this exercise I share it on here and I use in my work as a therapist, is this friendship pyramid. And it's sort of gaining this clarity on who goes where. Like the top is your ride or dies. But I think like it made me think of that when you're thinking of the energy thing. And if you get really clear, and maybe we add that to that, the friendship pyramid is like who drains your energy and who refuels your energy. And if you are choosing to be with those people that refuel, it's the best choice you can make for yourself. And I think getting clear on who those people are is really important, because again, clarity on your decision. Like, all right, well, this chick drains me. I'm saying no to that.
Right.
Or I love what you said about rest. I think, again, as like over-functioning, high-achieving women, and I struggle with this myself, and I literally had the universe have to intervene to slow me down in ways that were unpleasant, but kind of necessary for me to learn the lesson. And I think, that's a construct to be reframed as well, is that rest is so important. Rest is successful, but it's very difficult.
It's very hard.
It's very hard to do. And I struggle with that tremendously. And again, I think it was only like life universe intervention that caused me to do that. Like one was having my son, where I was finding like, okay, I'm going to have boundaries around my work because I want it, but it wasn't for me. It was for him. And then the secondary infertility journey was like, I was just not capable. Of working. And, I don't want anyone to be in those situations. I mean, having a son is a beautiful thing if that's what you want, but really being able to like take that rest because it's a choice for yourself, I think is so hugely important. And I imagine you see it with your clients, how difficult it is because all these narratives come in of like, I'm not productive, like I'm not doing, I'm failing, I'm lazy, I'm all of these very harmful narratives.
I dare people to watch a movie that they liked from their childhood with their phone in another room.
Right.
And that's hard. I mean, that's hard for me. Like I struggle with that, but it is sad. And that's why I'm like, I get like disgusted with myself sometimes. So I'm like, why do I need this phone right now? Like you don't need this.
Yeah.
And I'll go put it away. But like do something that is so lighthearted, has no meaning in the term of what we're typically putting meaning on, right? As in like doing, being, like productivity, all of that. And just like enjoy it.
Yeah.
Or like do something creative that you don't like, that you can like turn your phone off and focus in on that activity. Now that's horrifying for people because they might have a feeling and they don't know what to do with that when that comes up. And I always tell people, I'm like, there is nothing to do. Just let it happen. And they're like, well, what if I cry? I'm like, I actually want you to cry. Like, I want you to experience like what that type of an emotive release is. And I challenge clients to do that all the time. And it's crazy like how many sessions it takes them.
I know. I mean, it's a difficult thing. Or I've challenged clients to like take the social media off their phone. And but the product of that, the benefit, I mean, they all feel great.
Yeah.
They all feel really great when they do it. I think that is sort of the problematic nature of hustle culture and moving too quickly, is that we are not then sitting with our feelings.
Right. No.
And I don't think we can get clear on anything if we're not stopping and slowing down and kind of really just being with ourselves for a second.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so we covered a lot. Anything else you would say or want to share, kind of themes from your work, or anything might help listeners, kind of the highly ambitious women, overachievers that are feeling not enough, that they're behind, that they're out of time?
I think one of the biggest things that I will say until the day I depart Earth is I can almost guarantee you are being so much more hard on yourself than you need to be. And that you are probably doing far better in your particular circumstances than you give yourself credit for. And at some point, there has to be a moment where we allow ourselves to acknowledge us. In this exact moment, being imperfect, being unsure, being in the midst of transition, to just practice like giving ourselves that compassion that we often are so willingly giving to everybody else.
Yeah.
And that if you could just practice like tasting like just a crumb of that and like feeling like the release in your shoulders and your jaw, and like letting that like physical release of the tension happen. I just think nothing is possible if you don't practice having compassion.
No. And to your point, I think we are the hardest on ourselves than anyone else is. And we do give to other people compassion, love, kindness that we often don't give to ourselves. So that's definitely a place, an easy place you can start is to start offering yourself a little more kindness. I love what you said too, is like, I think what people have a hard time with is taking a really honest look at where we're at, because if we really do, you're probably doing pretty great. Yeah. You're probably doing pretty great. And it's almost like it gets very hard for us to look at that. Two of the hardest questions for my clients to answer are, what are you proud of and what do you want?
Oh.
And they're lost on how to answer that. And we really need to do the work and find someone that helps us do the work to be able to answer those. Because everyone deserves to be able to answer those questions.
Everyone does.
Yeah. Okay. Well, tell everybody about your podcast, where they can find you, your work.
I am on Instagram and TikTok as sam.the.therapist. On Instagram, it has 2 T's because the other one was taken. I also have the Nuance Needed podcast with Amanda White. Her handle is Therapy for Women. And we just talk about nuance, which is not a popular or sexy topic right now. But we just break down different mental health concepts, pop culture references, kind of dive into online culture and things like that. And it is my pride and joy. And that's where I'm at.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time and being here.
You guys, I do not get on a flight anymore without my Bombas compression socks. They are a travel staple for me, especially on longer flights. The socks help improve blood flow from your legs to your heart, which obviously is so essential. I just love these socks so much. And I want you guys to have an opportunity to check out these socks too. So use our code QTC20 for 20% off your first purchase of Bombas.
Hey guys, I'm Beth. Thank you so much for tuning in to Quiet the Clock. If you want to hear more episodes and learn more about how to dismantle societal timelines, live life on your own terms, live life fully and authentically, subscribe to our channel on YouTube. And you can also follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Quiet the Clock Pod. You guys, I'm really excited. We just created all this amazing merch. And so if you're loving the podcast and you want to support our cause and continue to hear amazing episodes, please support us by buying some merch. I am living in these sweatshirts every day. We have a range of colors. We have hoodies, we have mugs, we have hats, we have journals. We have all the things, and I love having them on because it's just a reminder to quiet the clock, to slow down, to like let life unfold and be happy. So there's meaning and purpose behind wearing it too, which is a nice reminder. So check out our website, quiettheclock.com, to get your merch. If this episode resonated with you, I would love for you to give Quiet O'Clock a follow. We are on all streaming platforms, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Like, follow, subscribe. Please leave us a review. Continue to join us for conversations on how to rewrite your own timeline and live life on your own terms.